Security Industry Regulatory Authority, PSIRA, has given an update today on its investigations into the suspected military camp in White River in Mpumalanga. Newzroom Africa's Aldrin Sampear attended the briefing, joins us now live. A lot of questions arising out of what we heard from the CEO and the team there a little bit earlier on. Tell us more, Aldrin, and you're about to talk to him as well.
Yeah, certainly. A lot that has come out of this press briefing, but unfortunately there are just some questions that the CEO cannot answer because it's outside the jurisdiction of PSIRA, which is the Private Security Industry Regulatory Authority. So they are confining themselves to this particular institution and how this institution has contravened the accreditation that they have received. We also heard that the grading that they have is only for grades C, D, as well as grade E. But the type of training that was happening there at the Milites Dei Academy, we know that went beyond the accreditation that they have received from PSIRA, and the CEO is now joining me to have that discussion further. CEO, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So earlier on, you spoke about how the company has contravened the accreditation that they've received from PSIRA. What was the company's explanation about what they've done?
Maybe I cannot venture into that now because there are other processes that will unfold, which will then give them an opportunity. I can safely say that when we confronted them and we stopped the operations at that camp, they were willing to surrender and comply.
Does it mean that they admit that what they did was in contravention of their accreditation?
I would like to reserve their rights, even though I can speak on their behalf now. Of course, they still have to answer formally. As I said, there are legal processes. I can't say that they are admitting. Of course, they speak through their attorneys.
Yeah. What's the attorney saying? Because yes, the thing is that PSIRA has done its investigation. You have spoken to the company. The company has a version of what they've done, and you've said that this matter is so serious that it also speaks to national security and a threat to national security. So again, what's the company saying about their conduct?
Of course, as I said, that they will get an opportunity to formally state their case. The fact that they are complying with the investigation doesn't mean that they are admitting, and I cannot say that certainly on their behalf, but we are glad that they are complying with the investigation so that we can get to the bottom of what happened.
Did they indicate where the 95 individuals, including the instructors, were coming from, who brought them to the company?
Of course, there are agreements. You may know by now that you cannot provide any security service in this country if you do not have a written contract. So the first thing that we would know is a written contract. We are of course aware that there is a contract that details some of the activities that were there, and which is something that will be at the center of the processes that will unfold going forward.
Can you say who contracted them?
Well, I can't say at the moment. As I said, that perhaps when we get to that point, we'll have the opportunity to even speak further on the details.
Is it a South African company or is it a Libyan company or organization?
We haven't established that.
You haven't established that?
We haven't established that, but look, our concern was focusing on the accreditation, as I said, the programs and the people that were there, and the training that we're receiving. The rest of the other legal issues, it's things that we'll be dealing with as we unfold.
Yeah. Do you know whether the company or the organization that has contracted Milites Dei Academy has been in contact with the company since the arrest and since this intervention by PSIRA to stop the military training?
I cannot confirm that at all. I think the company and its owners will be best suited to answer that question.
Okay. You also said that there has been regular inspections that have been taking place at the academy. The last one was around June, July last year, about 11 months ago. What did they find 11 months ago on the camp?
Look, as I said, that there are two different locations here. The camp that we accredited is the one that we're interacting with, and I can remember that, according to my briefing, they went there to investigate allegations of fielding, unregistered people at the same premises, and that part of the work is still ongoing. So apart from that, there are regular interactions that we have with service providers. You may know by now that there's certain reports that they need to be sending to us on a monthly basis, that their certificates would expire every year. They would have to be in contact with us, get the compliance both from legal compliance and other compliances ready so that we can renew their registration. So there is just no way that they can slip out and disappear for good. That is not how we operate in this industry.
So it means that 11 months ago, there was already an allegation of contravention of the accreditation that the company has received outside of now the 95 Libyans.
An allegation is an allegation,
yeah.
and I cannot say to you now that we finalize that matter. As I said, if people complain that you have unregistered people, we come and see. If they are not registered, we let you go and you continue with your work. So I can't say to you now that the allegations were true or not. Of course, we'll have to get a report on that.
So that investigation is still ongoing?
That investigation is still ongoing, or maybe have been finalized by now.
Yeah.
I just don't have the details now, but it's totally unrelated to this process that we are talking about right now.
Okay. So you also mentioned that the company is only accredited for grades, is it E to C?
That's correct.
What's the difference between grades E to C and the type of training that was offered? Which category would that fall under? Which grade would that fall under?
None of the type of training that was being done there would, match E to C.
None of the training that was done, and this is at the second base.
This is at the second base that was not accredited.
Okay, and the reason that I asked that, CEO, is that I find it weird that that this company that hasn't been accredited to do the type of training that they've said to have been doing on the camp for the past 4 or 5 months. I'll stick to that. This is now in terms of the Libyan training. That the business proposition of the company is actually that we offer military-style training. That is the business proposition. Do you know of that business proposition?
No, I'm not aware of it.
You're not aware. So meaning that your investigators and inspectors didn't pick this up?
No, I'm not saying they didn't pick that up. The fact that I don't know it doesn't mean they didn't pick that up.
Yeah.
They could have picked it up. It could be a matter that we're following since we are investigating the whole matter.
Yeah.
Of course, right now, we can't say that we don't know a lot of things because we unpacked a whole lot of things into the activities.
Okay. I want you to watch a video quickly, which is from the company's YouTube page. This video was posted 3 years ago. 3 years ago, when you look at this video, does it say to you that this is the type of training that is offered to individuals for grades E to C?
Of course not. It doesn't look like.
It doesn't look like it. And this has been going on for 3 years, more than 3 years perhaps.
Well, I can't confirm that. You are showing me the video. Of course, it looks like they are training some sort of, combat training.
Yeah. Isn't this a concern that PSIRA hasn't picked this up?
It is a concern. It is definitely a concern that this type of things are happening. As I said, that when you accredit people, you give them a specific parameter. And when they go beyond that, then it's another thing. They have to come back and say, we're no longer doing what you said we must do. We'd like to extend. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And of course, as we're looking at the video right now, we can't say whether it is at the camp that we're looking at at the moment.
But this is the company's business proposition that we offer military-style training.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. All I'm saying, these are things that we're looking at now, and these are things that we will be dealing with. Of course, we did not accredit a military-style training. We accredited E to C, and if there's anything over and above that, it has to obviously to be within the law.
Yeah. So they've gone beyond the perimeters of the accreditation that they've received for the past 3 years, at least, and your organization didn't pick that up. Chances are perhaps maybe even the company that contracted them knew about what offerings are being given at this institution, and your company, your organization didn't know about this.
It is very possible that we didn't know about it. since we told you that we have 16,000 companies that we're looking at. With all fairness, I don't think that if somebody doesn't report, if it doesn't bring it to our attention, but as I said, that when we do the interactions with them, at the inspections, we do certain type of paperwork that we look at, we do certain type of activities, and so on. We're not saying that the activities that they're doing can be condoned. Look, there's also other training that you do that is called tactical training.
Yeah.
And that is something similar to a sort of a combat training, but depending on what you're doing it for. We have, for instance, sectors such as CIT, armed response, and so on, where we'd like to imagine that when we train those particular people, you will engage also in tactical training with them. There's also what we call anti-poaching training. It all depends what you're training for, but none of those fall in the class of military-style training.
Okay. Just in conclusion, CEO, the last time the police commissioner said that firearms were found at the camp, they were unused. I'd like you to speak a bit around that, and also what you said that the equipment that you found was some equipment that we don't necessarily have. Does it mean that there could have been equipment that was imported into the country?
No. The issue of firearms, you must know that there is a specific regulator that deals with that. So we're not into firearms, but we control the use and, of course, possession of the firearms during the rendering of security service. From the best of our knowledge, the firearms that we are referred to are legal firearms. And I know that we have verified that with our investigations as well. And those firearms were used for the purposes of training. And some of them were dummy firearms, not necessarily firearms that you find in the military space.
And then the equipment? Do you know whether any equipment was imported to the country?
I think maybe let's just define the equipment here. We're talking about the infrastructure, the training aids, and so on. It's things that you can erect and build here in South Africa. I do not think that there's anything extraordinary about importing them or so on.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time. That is Mr. Chauke, who's the CEO of the private security industry regulatory body, around what they have found on the scene. But concerning Iman is the video that we played a bit earlier on. And if you go onto the webpage of Milites Dei Academy, you will see what the business proposition is. It is that we offer military-style training. And you go onto their YouTube page, and as far as 3 years back, you'd see that they have videos of that tactical training that was taking place on the camp.
They certainly didn't seem to be shy, Aldrin, in advertising exactly the range of services that they were providing. So to the point that you make, it is concerning that PSIRA, the governing body of all of this, seem to not know about it at all. We'll wait for more answers, of course. They say the investigations continue. But as recent as just a few days ago, Barney Bass, who is the owner of MDSS, telling the Sunday Times that everything was above board. Could there have been a misunderstanding as to what they were allowed to train for and what they weren't, given, as you say, that they've spent the last 3 years doing exactly as they've wanted to do? We'll come back to the story later. Aldrin Sampear there live at the conclusion of that media conference given by the Security Industry Regulatory Authority.